Peut-être tout ça. Ah,
Greetings, everybody. Oh man, it sounds weird with these headphones. So for a bunch of stuff last week, I left the headphones that I usually use at the store, and I left them there. So that's been fun. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Brandon from Variant Edition, and it is time for our new releases show. Thank you for waiting. The internet was going blinky right when I started, because of course it is. So that was fun. And Squee, I don't know if you can hear him. You might not be able to. I had to lock him in the door because he's upset that he can't be outside. But when he was outside, it started raining. So he started trying to push the comics off the table. So I put him in a room with Kit, and he is basically pounding at the door, like scratching at the bottom, like the chill boy he is. Chill boy, no problems. Hopefully y'all can see and hear me, because like I said, I wasn't even sure I was going to get the show on tonight, the way that the computer was acting and kicked me out, basically, when I was trying to get the show on the first time. So, yeah. Yeah, Squee has been a lot more of a pest now that he's discovered how much he loves the outdoors. Thank you. And now he just would much rather be outside at all times. And when he is not, he is a huffy little bug. Poor little boy. So this is the first solo show for Variant Edition. This is not how the format's going to go moving forward, because I've got some plans for some things. I just don't have them already and lined up. So at 6, when I was wrapping up at the store today, I started getting this huge migraine at the base of my skull, and it's finally dissipating, which is great because I kind of needed it too while this is happening. Took some, I want to say ibuprofen. It's one of the ones, or acetaminophen, or hibbity-dibbity. And it seems to have worked, or at least convinced myself that it's working enough. So that's good. So a lot of stuff happening at the store. We've got more and more stuff in our all ages section upstairs. That's going well. I'm hoping I'm not developing a cold, but the back of my throat is kind of sore. So I'll probably be masking in the days to come here, just as a precaution. And I've been busy setting up a new few pages for our website, and a new weekly newsletter that will start going out on Friday that I'm really excited for. It's a cool little system that lets me include bits for different people's tastes. So what I'm going to start with is doing newsletter that has different bits for people who are more interested in single issues and subscriptions, folks who are interested more into the graphic novel, and folks who want some comic book and pop culture news bits thrown in, and folks who are looking for all ages product, and stuff with more of a educators and librarians vibe to it. And I can toggle those different sections on and off. I'll basically be sending out a newsletter every week, and sometimes a specific newsletter to those different groups. But the main newsletter that goes out every week will have bits depending on people's preferences, and I will get all that started up this Friday. That'll be the first one that goes out. I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to see, to test like a new version of trying to get content to people, because social media is not doing what it's supposed to, or at least the promise way back in the day of being in a place where you can connect with the folks that you want to connect with in an easy fashion. Like Facebook is almost impossible to get messages through to people. Blue Sky is pretty good. It does, it at least does your things in order from the folks that you're talking to. And, but it doesn't have like the mass reach like when we were full into Twitter. And that was a great tool for us, for people to discover us as well. So working on the newsletter to help connect with people and do stuff, and working on a new format for the show, because it's a little weird, a little dull solo, I think. And so I'm going to be testing the formats a bit, and doing some, obviously the new this week stuff will mostly be on my shoulders, but the other bits I want it to be a bit of variety, but all in good time. The weather just got super bonkers here over the past like 10-15 minutes. It was like nice and sunshiny, and then it started raining, and that's when I opened the door and was like, "Squee, come inside." And he's like bolting. He's just like, "Oh God, what happened?" And then he immediately turned around and was like, "Outside." And I was like, "No, dude, we're not doing this again." So that's the state of the house right now. I think Jim's napping somewhere because she had some good chicken and cheese. And yeah. There. I don't think there was anything wild to talk about other than Danica had her last regular day this past Saturday. You will be still seeing her here and there. She's obviously in our comments right now. Hopefully you can't hear the lozenge that I'm on. I just didn't want to. I wanted to be good for the show. And her last day was supposed to be the Friday, but my nieces were up, and I spent the day with them and my mom, going around Edmonton. We went to the farmers market in Old Strathcona. We went swimming outside at one of the Edmonton pools, and we had lunch with Auntie Danica, and we did some drawing with Auntie Danica as well at the store. They had so much fun. Danica's Facebook profile right now is one that my youngest niece did. She drew this nice picture of Auntie Danica, and then she's like, "Auntie Danica needs teeth," and she gave her rows of sharps. It is absolutely amazing. And then at supper, my eldest niece, colored some pictures of myself and Danica and snuck them to us. So that's cool. I honestly should change my Facebook picture to that one because it's a real good picture of me. I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, that was a good weekend. That was fun. And now sort of settling into the new flow of work. And it's going pretty well. Even with training our new Tuesday person who's helping me out to do a lot of the things that Danica would do on Tuesdays. He did incredibly well. Grasped a lot of the stuff that we were teaching him last week. And I figured between helping him out and doing my regular stuff that I'd be there pretty late and coming in here pretty hot. But I was able to stop and get some preventative cold measures and proactive cold measures just in case that comes. I bought some dreaded Buckleys. I hate it. I hate it so much, but I can't argue with its effectiveness. So, and as a Brandon doesn't feel like cooking when he's got a migraine, bought a rotisserie chicken. So fascinating. All of these little bits. I'm sure everyone is just absolutely riveted right now. But we have a stack to get through today. And we're starting to get more and more books in now that we've landed. So that's cool. I forgot to add these. Oh wait, I might have forgotten to add something else too. I might have. I did. I'm gonna have to go and see if I can find it. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be like a proper Twitch streamer, and I'm just gonna abandon the feed for like a couple secs while I go and find this book because it's one that I'm most excited about this week. I've waited for so long. All right, that wasn't too bad. Folks, I cannot tell you how excited I am that Prez is back in print, especially these days. Prez is one of the first comics that Mark Russell did, really. First full-on comic. And for folks who know the series from when it was coming out or from me hand-selling it, because I was definitely hand-selling it, this is the YA size version of Prez. It also includes a brand new story and the bonus story from Catwoman Election Night. This book made me a fan of Mark Russell for life. There's a part in the book that features End of Life Bear that had me concerned, laughing, and feeling very, very touched within the span of maybe like 4 panels. It's amazing. So it's 2048 and America has just elected its first teenage president. The eyes of the world are on Beth, but in a nation so used to misrule that the poor are willing to do anything on TV for a chance at a better life, will a fresh start be enough to undo the damage caused by Boss Smiley and his corporate shadow government? That is a really short bit about what Prez is about. Basically, the idea is, and Beth ends up going viral for a mishap And in a bit of a pissing contest, the electoral votes for the different states keep getting pushed off to Corn Dog Girl, as all the states kind of hold out for different things. And this is something that could technically happen. America's system is one where that also differs a little bit state to state, but by and large, what the majority of a state votes for, that state has certain electoral college votes, and that's essentially a mandate by the voters to, all right, use all of our electoral college votes and put them towards the candidate of our choice. Now, technically, a state can divvy them up however they want. There are some states that actually do a more of a direct representation and all that. Good old cheese puns. Let's go. And these representatives who have these electoral college votes can essentially assign them to anybody. Well, enough of them get assigned to Corn Dog Girl, Beth here, that she becomes president. And it's kind of dangerous because she's not beholden to anybody. She hasn't done any deals. She hasn't worked any angles. It's just her trying to run the place and keep everything cool. So it's amazing. It's got everything here for the nice YA price of 23 Canadian dollars, $16.99 Americanos. Another cool thing that DC is doing right now, and I'm going to show a regular size comic for scale, are these compact comics, this line here. And the first two in the line are the entirety of Watchmen and Batman the Court of Owls saga. So the first 11 issues of the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo Batman run. Now you're thinking, oh, what'll this set you back? Well, these are $10 American. 12 issues of Watchmen, 11 issues of Batman, $10 American each. They're doing these. They've got a deal with a bunch of Hudson News locations, so the places that are usually in airports. And yeah, I think it's a remarkable way to get outreach and get people reading. I'm really excited to get more people into these books, and it's going to be easier than ever to do that. There was a concern that the lettering would be a little too small, but it actually works out quite well. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to start putting him into people's hands. It's really cool. Yeah, that Batman story is great. One of the best of all time. I was super excited when Scott Snyder was going to be taking over Batman because he'd done such an amazing job on Detective. That's the Black Mirror run where Dick Grayson is Batman, and it is truly my favorite Batman story. And rolling into this, that was really cool. All right, now we're gonna go back to some singles for a bit. As you saw, this is the facsimile edition of Mad magazine, Mad before it was a magazine. Back when it was EC, part of the EC Comics line. I guess it always was kind of part of the EC Comics line, but it became Mad Magazine in order to avoid the Comics Code Authority and all that kind of stuff, because magazines had different rules than comics. So this is basically exactly how the first Mad appeared, including the old ads. This dude gained 53 pounds of shapely, power-packed muscles. Pazzow. Wowee. And yeah, there's like a whole bunch of really great art in here. And Brain. This is hard to do by yourself. All right, we've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha issue. This is the book coming a little bit before the relaunch happening in July. Sitting in my email box right now, I have a PDF of the first issue that Jason Aaron is doing. He's doing the whole series. The first issue art is going to be by Joelle Jones, and she's doing the Raphael story in there. This gives you a little preview of the ongoing series with the Jason Aaron story featuring Donatello, with art from Chris Burnham, who is going to be doing the Donatello issue. And it has a story called Monster Island, which brings a return of some comic book characters that are well beloved, especially in the Archie circles. And I got to the end of this book and gasped. I was excited. We have X-Men 35, or Uncanny X-Men number 700, which didn't cause any issues with folks trying to type in prepaste today, because they're called those both things. This is the 700th issue of X-Men, of Uncanny X-Men, in that lineage. It is also the final Krakoa era issue. It also features a nice preview of how the next era is going to go, with a story co-written by Jed MacKay and Gail Simone. That gives you a taste for the next era. This wraps everything up beautifully. This has equal parts optimism, hope for the future, and sets up a lot of challenges for the X-Men and the new status quo. So a lot of the details of the new X-Men comics line, they weren't getting into specifics. They were talking about teams. They were talking vaguely about motivations and locations and whatnot. But they didn't want to ruin basically all the surprises, all the end game stuff that's happening here. And let me tell you, if you're a fan of the Krakoa era, you're going to be excited. You're going to be a little wistful. But they've got some really cool things in this issue to wrap up that whole era. We have the return of the Ultimates. I loved this book. This is, I would say, the full arrival of Dennis Camp to the Marvel universe. He has done a couple of the late stage X-Men Krakoa era books, but Dennis Camp last year, maybe a little bit in the year before, put out a trilogy of absolute bangers. 20th Century Men, a Bloodshot 4 issue series, and Agent of World, that were these big mind-bending, high-stakes ideas that had sort of like, in some cases, hyper-violence, in other cases, just sort of like, I would say, enhanced action. And it really struck me as when he was announced to be the writer of Ultimates, it really struck me as getting this era's Ultimates, which was big action, which was sort of like widescreen, bigger ideas. And it translates beautifully here to the world that Jonathan Hickman has sort of laid out, where power structures are contained within very few people, and there's these people fighting to break up that power and bring it back to the people. Absolutely outstanding. They did a remarkable job of this. I'm so excited for folks to really get to experience Dennis Camp kind of unleashed in the Marvel universe. It's really cool. Sean, yes, I can get you a TMNT. Let me just make a quick note of that, because my remarkable is a little ways away. In the meantime, has anybody been watching anything that's really cool lately? I've been watching a lot of wrestling, of course, in my spare time. I don't think I'm watching anything like new right now. I'm going through some older stuff. Like I've been slowly trudging through One Tree Hill, of all things. And that show is just one of the most bonkers things in the world. A lot of people might know One Tree Hill from a scene of it appearing on John Oliver's show quite a bit. It's the scene where basically someone's waiting for a heart transplant. Heart drops on the floor, and then a dog walks up, grabs it in his mouth, and walks away while the character just sort of looks and goes, huh, interesting. That's probably one of the least bonkers things that I've seen on that show. It is truly a wild bit of business. All right, got that noted. Sean says Camden is a doc series on Disney that's cool for audiophiles. Ooh, that's awesome. The last kind of audio documentary thing that I saw, a friend of ours introduced us to the Sparks documentary about the band Sparks, and it is wonderful. I kind of knew of this band very tangentially, but they're just so weird and so wonderful and just uncompromising and strange and yeah, just really cool. Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite small bits in it is all these people talk about Sparks, including members of Duran Duran, but they're credited as Duran and Duran, which I thought was really funny. Kaiju number 8 is currently simulcasting on Crunchyroll if you like anime. I'm slowly getting into some more anime, and Kaiju number 8 has really struck me, especially as it's gained popularity with a lot of our libraries and a lot of people ordering. Random dude who cleans up kaiju bodies after attacks suddenly gains powers equal to Godzilla. Very cool. At night before I go to bed, I've actually been reading an older manga on the Viz. I think it's just the Viz app. Case Closed, which I really like because it marries kind of two things that I really like. Kind of Agatha Christie style mysteries and just kind of goofy manga concepts. Like basically this teen detective is targeted by shady people and is fed a serum and it just turns him into a kid. And so now he's essentially been adopted by his best friend who doesn't know he's been turned into a kid. And her dad, who is a terrible detective, and he basically is solving these cases for this dad. And it's fun, it's goofy, but like the mysteries are really, really well done, at least so far. If we're recommending documentaries, the one about Reading Rainbow on Netflix is great. Oh, that sounds like something that I would want to watch, like just full on. All right, next up, we have the continuation of the new Energon line, the G.I. Joe characters with Scarlet. This one is by Kelly Thompson and Marco Ferrari. This is a book that Danica said, do not let me read this book. I do not want to be buying G.I. Joe, because Kelly Thompson is one of her absolute favorite writers of all time. Danica, I regret to inform you that this is a banger. Kelly Thompson is still great at her job. It recontextualizes Scarlet. You don't need to know anything because this is some of her kind of like first appearance stuff, basically. And it sets up a really cool kind of espionage story. Intrigue, they say, and action. I'm going to get the information about this next book up. A recent documentary that I saw was the Quiet on Set, which is very disturbing, but I really enjoyed and still do show called iCarly. It's a really smart kids show that was on in mid 2000s and then came back fairly recently for a bit of a run. And it's just a goofy show, but this documentary series is basically about the culture on those sets and how there was some basically child predators on staff at various Nickelodeon shows, and it's rough, but it kind of colors some things from back then. Yeah. Yikes. There is a mute button for that. I really should have popped that on there. Yeah, she did. Jeff was there. Jeff the land shark. Who's just trying to do his best. All right. We got Profane number 1 from Peter Milligan and Raul Fernandez. Solving murders in Los Angeles is the daily bread of private detective Will Profane. But something is strange about his latest case. When every clue points to toward a famous detective novelist at the center of the mystery, Will's world will transform into something truly unreal. Discover a new mind-bending thriller from legendary writer Peter Milligan and veteran artist Raul Fernandez about the precariously thin line between reality and fiction. Perfect for fans of Bang and Newburn. Bang was Matt Kint and Alfredo Torres, I believe. Book that featured a spy character who didn't realize that he's living a fiction, something like that. That was real cool. Jeff the Land Shark, regrettably, not in G.I. Joe. Womp womp. Give me a sec. I'm going to blow my nose. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, more and more signs are pointing to Brandon has a cold. So, asking up at Variant Edition for you folks. Now, this is one I've been waiting for such a long time. It's been years since Little Bird came out, and this is a prequel to Little Bird. Now, for folks who haven't read Little Bird, I will sell it to you, or at least I'll try if I think you'd be really interested in it. Takes place in the future, where essentially a Christian state has really taken over America, and theology is really running their decisions, mixed with, prophets. And they decide, hey, you know what? We should start up in Canada. And they do. And Little Bird is about this indigenous woman who takes them down, and it is extremely brutal and extremely detailed. Precious Metal is taking place 35 years before Little Bird. You don't have to have read Little Bird to get into this one, but it is absolutely gorgeous and features a lot of the same lines of thinking. Obviously, the state hasn't really cracked down at this point in time, so there is a level of sort of like freedom fighting that's happening in it, but you kind of know, since it is a prequel, that a lot of what's happening is a little doomed. It is beautiful. The design elements alone are absolutely gorgeous. The lettering is second to none, because they got Hassan Otsmane Alejo doing the letters, and Ian Bertram just doing the work of his life. So excited to share this again with some folks. All right, getting this one up as well. We have Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. Jerry Duggan and Gary Brown present a massive double-length first issue of their groundbreaking new series. The sun set on samurai and gunslingers at roughly the same time. But our two leads didn't die off quietly. In the East, Asmani, an Onamusha warrior and female samurai, would rather die with her weapons than surrender them to a sword hunt. In the West, the gunslinger, McGrath, follows his revenge to the bitter end and pays the ultimate price. The future lovers are mortally wounded, a world apart, and awake together in a purgatory ruled by a ruthless society of damned warriors. This one has it all. Action, the dead, the dying, the undead, and of course, romance. Ooh la la. Je m'appelle la romance. My French is impeccable. And finally, for single issues, we have a DC Pride issue featuring a celebration of Rachel Pollack, the first trans creator to work at DC. She did some remarkable work. She's done a lot of Doom Patrol, and this book is a tribute to her as she passed away fairly recently. There is the entirety of the Vertigo Visions The Geek story that she did with Michael Allred, located in this book. It's also got Doom Patrol number 70 that she did with Scott Eaton, and a brand new story called Shining Through the Wreckage from Joe Corallo and Rye Hickman. Danica had a chance to read this. She absolutely adored it. And she's read more Doom Patrol than I have. And so got a lot out of the story about Rachel at the end, because it references a lot of her work. And it's really cool, a really great tribute to a groundbreaking creator who definitely deserves more attention. We also have Barda from Nuzo Yukazu, the Newark best-selling creator of Check Please, which is in our sports section. It is a hockey story that involves smooching because our sports section is very gay. And yeah, Check Please has been one of our best sellers of all time. To have this creator brought in to do a DC project, that's a really cool move on the part of the DC Young Adults line. Very cool. Darkseid is, and life on Apokolips is tough, but then it is hell after all, and no one knows this better than Barda, Granny Goodness's right-hand warrior. But Barda has a secret. She is in love, or she is curious about it anyways, whether it be the beauty of a flower, her affection for her closest friend, Aurelie, or her feelings about the mysterious and fierce warrior, Orion, who is the only match for Barda's strength. When Granny decides her champion is becoming too soft, she assigns Barda a task that might be more than she can handle, to break the seemingly unbreakable Scott free. And as Barda questions why Scott has such hope and what he might have done to provoke such hatred from Granny, she finds herself drawn to him in a way that she never expected. The only thing is, we do not speak of love on Apokolips. So, a beautiful romance story from one of the best comic romance writers of our generation. We have Wires Crossed a young adult book. Mia Milligan feels like a bunch of wires got crossed, and now everything and everyone is changing. But she's still stuck in the middle, between old friends and new, between feeling like a kid and growing up. Just as her longtime BAFF, Addie, is gravitating towards the popular crowd and starting to care more about school dances than treehouse playdates, Mia finds out that her favorite science camp friend, Tariq, is moving to town. When her science teacher announces the school science Olympics, Mia and Tariq team up again to crush the competition, just like at camp. Only this time, they're joined by a couple of unconventional teammates in Kinsey, more artist than scientist, and the lovable, if also sometimes gross and goofy, Evan. Do Mia and Tariq still have enough of a spark to build a killer robot, figuratively speaking, of course, and take home the prize? Through much experimentation and a little trial and error, Mia navigates new friendships and old as she tries to find her place in middle school and on the winner's podium. And speaking of transition years, baby, freshman year, everyone gets a fresh start. Who do you want to be? Sarah is leaving suburban Wisconsin for her freshman year in Minnesota. She has high hopes for the foreseeable future, impress her professors, meet interesting new people, stay close to her best friends and boyfriend back at home, flourish as an artist, and shed her lingering high school anxieties. What seems manageable at first quickly unravels into a tailspin as Sarah's high-achieving roommate puts her to shame. Her summer love dissolves, and she is overwhelmed by the freedom, the isolation, and all the possibilities that await in this new environment. Based on the author's personal college journals and comics, freshman year navigates the inner workings of an 18-year-old in witty, honest, and heartfelt detail. Whether you're impatiently looking forward or nostalgically looking back, this is the perfect read for anyone who loves realistic graphic novels about the laughable growing pains of almost adulthood. Hi, Bryce. We have Bad Dreams in the Night, Horror Stories by Adam Ellis. You might know Adam Ellis from the internet. He does a lot of stuff on the internet. This was a Danica acquisition. In fact, you will see a whole bunch of Danica recommends little leaflets around the store. She has sprinkled them around, leaving her picks for all of you nice and visible. Reader beware, in these 11 spine-tingling horror comics, writer and illustrator Adam Ellis explores the supernatural and deeply unsettling stories lurking in everyday life, from mysterious islands to haunted ramen shops to murder mysteries and other freak occurrences. Bad Dreams in the Night is certain to linger in your nightmares. Ooh. Public domain spooky button. Yeah, don't like this coming down with a cold thing. I'm against it. Gavel, gavel, gavel. It's decided. Colds are bad. Get cold. We have the first volume of Shazam put together by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. This is a wonderful, fun series from the pair that takes Billy Batson and his family, and kind of puts them in an interesting situation. Shazam is basically acting off whenever Billy becomes him, and it's because he's essentially being piloted. Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury, the world's mightiest mortal, uses these ancient gods' powers, but Wizard Shazam never quite got their permission, and now they've decided to turn Billy Batson's alter ego into the world's mightiest puppet, putting the entire world in epic danger. Why? This isn't on the back. Why? Because they're dicks. As a lot of old gods are. You know, this is just how that goes. An unlikely team of extremely mortal heroes rises up to save the captain from himself, but can they turn the tide in the battle against the gods themselves? The answers to this and other questions, including why is Billy called Captain anyway, are revealed in Shazam! Meet the Captain, a collection from Mark Waid and Dan Mora. It's a fun-filled ride that includes dinosaurs from outer space, the clubhouse of eternity, talking tigers and gorillas, and a would-be conqueror from the moon, and more. It's so good. Bryce is right. Dan Mora does draw like a fiend. So both Waid and Mora have stopped actually working on Shazam, but their replacement has been amazing. Josie Campbell, who did the new Shazam story a couple years back from featuring Mary Marvel with herself and Doc Shaner doing the art. It was absolutely amazing. She took over with Elena Casagrande, I want to say. I'm pretty sure. And they're absolutely killing it. It's a super fun book. I love the bureaucracy that the space T-Rexes have. That's a thing that I said, and that's a thing that I believe. It's really great. And but yeah, they're doing Absolute Power. That'll be coming out. FOC for it is actually this Sunday for folks, so be aware. It's the big new crossover happening at DC, and I was just actually on a call with some other retailers with Mark Waid on Thursday, where he talked about what the event is attempting to do and how they wanted to communicate its importance. And one of the things that Mark said was he wanted the main pillar books to take part in this, and that which was to say that it wasn't going to be Absolute Power and then like here's this 3-issue miniseries, Absolute Power Batman, Absolute Power Wonder Woman. The books, the Batman creative team, like Chip Zdarsky is writing the Batman tie-in, is happening in Batman. Tom King is writing the Wonder Woman tie-in, is happening in Wonder Woman. Joshua Williamson is writing the Superman tie-in, it's happening in Superman. It's all to lend the importance that they're trying to do with this event, saying, no, this is actually a big idea that is actually taking hold and growing roots. And the long and short story of it is the DC universe, Amanda Waller has sort of been amassing different areas of power. And now, through some recent events, she's been able to cement it. And so there's a Ground Zero one shot that sort of gives you a very ground level look at like, okay, here's the basic building blocks that you need to know so that you don't have to have like follow this story, follow this story, follow this story. It gives you all the little pieces that Amanda Waller has built, obtained, and is using going forward. And then Absolute Power number 1 is going to rocket you straight through. The basic idea is the superheroes are going to be, this isn't really a spoiler because it's like really in the solicitations, they're going to be essentially depowered and the world turned against them. And how do you kind of fight against ideology? How do you fight against sort of the regressive nature of control that Amanda Waller has in mind for the DC universe that really doesn't allow for a lot of freedoms? And I think having Mark Waid and Dan Mora tackle that, you have the deep lore and optimism that Mark Waid really brings to all of his projects. He really puts a premium on the heroes still acting heroic in the face of impossible odds. And so you're going to have these hardships, these hard times, but with this optimism to it. And you have Dan Mora being able to essentially redesign a whole bunch of characters in sort of this new light. And so he does a whole bunch of redesign work and it makes these classic costumes just absolutely pop. It's going to be good. I'm really excited for it. Hitting back to DC, the first paperback collection of The Titans is out from Tom Taylor and Nicola Scott. This has the team kind of really formed back and operating in Bloodhaven, trying to do good for the world. They've essentially been left in charge by the Justice League during this era because the Justice League really feels like they really up in terms of, you know, running the world after one of the last big events, and they really want some more optimistic leadership, and so they turned to Dick and they turned to the Titans, and this is the first story that came about of that. Wonderful stuff. And if you're looking for just like good solid superhero stuff with, again, very positive outlook, Tom Taylor really good at that kind of stuff. Nicola Scott, she's drawing them booties, them Nightwing booties, and they are so sweet, and everything else she draws is really good too. We have the return to print for Spider-Man Reign before its sequel series comes out next month. This is a fairly infamous story, and I'll explain why after a bit. Spider-Man's darkest night, the time, the future, the place, a cold, hostile Manhattan that long ago traded freedom for security imposed by brutal soldiers of the Reign. The opposition, publisher turned rabble-rousing street prophet J. Jonah Jameson, who promises Spider-Man will return to save them all. But the long-vanquished hero is a tired old man now. No job, no family, no hope. Can Peter Parker rediscover his once great power and great responsibility that comes with it? Or is the Spider's mask too heavy a burden to wear in this harsh new reality? This story gained some infamy because of the death of one Mary Jane Watson, and she apparently died because the radiation that Spider-Man got when he was bitten by the radioactive spider affected other parts of his body, and she got cancer. Yoicks. But it is a very sought after story. It is a very weird story. Hypno Hustler shows up. It also has Dr. Octopus, Electro, Kraven, Mysterio, Sandman, Scorpion, a whole bunch of villains, really taking it to the Spider-Mans. And yeah, it is basically Carrie Andrews, who did all of this, really wanted to be sort of like Spider-Man's Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, it sure is. It sure is, Bryce. And now we have the latest collected edition of Alpha Flight. This takes place in the midst of the Krakoan era of the X-Men, and it has what Alpha Flight's been doing with all of this and how they interact with the mutants and all that kind of stuff. There's some twists on here too. So if you all are thinking, man, I don't know what's happening with this Alpha Flight, twists abound. And it was really good, really well done, as told by two Canadian boys, Ed Brisson and Scott Godlewski. And finally, we couldn't show it last week because we were shorted, but we got more copies, baby, for folks who have been waiting. My favorite thing is Monsters Volume 2 is here. The first volume has gone over extremely well. The second volume, well, like I said, is here now. There is no real explanation for this one. I don't have it for you. Because it's all pull quotes all the way down. And at this point, you might want to check out the first volume anyways if you haven't. I really like it. As you can kind of see here, it's done in sort of like a pen and ink, and then looks like lined paper. And it's just some really, really great storytelling, really unique art. And yeah, I'm very excited for folks to finally get their hands on this. There was so many people who came in who were just like, I've been waiting for this for years, and we're so excited to get their hands on this book. And now more of you can too. So, yay! Which button is that one? Yeah, so all right, that's gonna do it for the show. But before we go, of course, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. It's that point in time where we look at and we say, hey everybody, thank you for being out there and for checking this out. We hope that you all know that as much as you guys are here for us, we are also here for you, whatever you might need. Always feel free to reach out. And honestly, if we have the spoons, we're going to give you some spoons. Looking out, I'm seeing Sean. Hi, Sean. Looking out, I'm seeing Danica. Hi, Danica. I know her. I say hi to Max too, and then wherever Joy is. She probably ran away because she knew I was out and about. I see Ben. Hi, Ben. I see Tic Tac, I believe. Howdy, howdy. I see Steven. Hello, Steven. I see Patrick. Hey, Patrick. Thank you for that recommendation as well. I'm real excited for that. Thank you all for your recommendations today. I am kind of looking for more things to keep current on instead of like revisiting or going back to. I see Bryce. Hello, Bryce. I see Tyson. Hi, Tyson. Danica, I know you're not here to see through this, but hi, Tux. Of course she is. Yeah, that's a good take there too. And yeah, Glory was so good. Sophie Campbell, absolutely outstanding. Hoping that they have some time to do some more art now that their run on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has wrapped as a writer. And yeah. Good to know. I believe you. All right, folks. Thank you all for being here. I am going to go fight off this cold by downing some Buckley's, taking some Vitamin C. That's what the kids are calling it these days. Take a little bit of Vitamin C for your health. And hope for the best. I know a lot of the vitamin stuff is, again, kind of more placebo effect thing, but like, I'll take it. I'll take it indeed. All right. Thank you all for checking in. I'll be back here next week. Maybe in a slightly different format, or I might hold that off until like July, get some things in place first instead of like really spinning some plates. And yeah, until then, we will talk with you soon, and we'll see you in the store. Hope you're all having chill times and taking care of yourselves. All right, everybody. Bye.